Are there things that you feel confident about that you can go to sort of counter that Brandon Staley plan that had some success last year?
The Brandon Staley plan.
I'm gonna club this baby seal!
Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kyoto Bolt fam, it's the director. Oh, it feels so good to say that finally in the regular season. It's the director, baby. Let's go. Week 1 of the regular season is finally upon us. The Chargers taking on the Miami Dolphins in our home opener. Let's freaking go. Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa. We are going to be so toxic to Dolphins fans about that fact, especially in this week's game. Oh my God, guys, I can't even keep it together. So excited for this matchup. We finally made it. Oh, Bolt fam, it's going to be a good one. You guys know the drill by this point, right? Well, we're going into season 3 of the Director's Channel here with the Chargers content exclusively. And it's going to be a good one, man. I got a good feeling about this season. It all starts on Sunday, Chargers versus Dolphins. We're going to be breaking this game down, the ins and outs, the things you got to know, the things to watch out for, and certainly the things to get excited about in this one. How do we think this game is going to turn out? You guys in the comment section below, give me your score predictions. Of course, I'll be giving you guys my prediction by the end of this video. And just as forewarning too, I should just say a full disclosure, this video is being made a few days ahead in advance. I will be out of town this weekend. One last hoorah with the boys going out to Vegas. You guys see me walking around on the street or whatever, you happen to be there too, jump into our conversation. I don't care what we're in the middle of doing. Make me seem like a big deal to the guys, all right? We're trying to make a good impression here. Well, guys, before we jump into this one, quick shout out to the sponsor. It's finally here, baby. Underdog fantasy season has officially arrived. If you guys want to jump in on the best fantasy platform on the web, it's time to throw down for those Chargers, baby. Use code DIRECTOR to match your first deposit up to $100. And keep an eye on my Twitter for some of my picks. Most of the time, it's just going to be Chargers related. I think that definitely makes the games a lot more fun. And also keep an eye on Twitter, man. I love this new page that they put down for these specials, right? Keep an eye on this. Definitely make sure you guys go follow this Underdog's Twitter or X page or whatever called Picks, right? This is great for picks. This is one of my favorite things to do on this platform. They're going to be putting specials and stuff like this out there. So by the time you guys see this video, this will probably already be over. Who knows? If not, definitely take advantage of it and keep an eye out on the Twitter page for more opportunities like this, because these are fire. It makes those Sundays extremely profitable, in my opinion. So before we do kick off, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into our first game preview of the season, baby. Lights, camera,
action.
your Chargers versus Dolphins Week 1 game preview. We finally made it, Bolt fam. Okay, if you guys don't know, if you're unfamiliar, this is usually how we start with these game previews. Quick little update on some of the injury status and health status of a lot of these players. Of course, we're filming this a bit ahead in time, so we're not going to have the full report quite yet. But some of the guys to look out for the Chargers, of course, Dan Henley still battling that hamstring injury. Hopefully we get to see him very soon. And then Chris Rumpf, who has been limited as well. He might have a shot at playing. As for the Dolphins side, there's quite a few names on there. A couple of big ones to keep a note on. Teron Armstead, who's not practicing as of today. I'm hearing that he'll probably not play. They're starting, is it left tackle for that team? Yeah, that's going to have some repercussions. That's going to have some repercussions. Elijah Campbell, Roquan Davidson, defensive line. Liam Eichenberg, looks like he's practicing in full now, though. So I think for the most part here, it's that Armstead one that we're going to have to look out for as Chargers fans. Because, yeah, that will definitely, trickle down into maybe some of the results that we see in this game. With that, let's jump into our first topic. this is going to be a big game for a lot of Chargers fans and a lot of reasons, okay? I think the one big one that keeps following people around is this narrative behind Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa. And, I know there's going to be some Dolphins fans, poking their heads in here saying, what did the Chargers fans think about this game? First off, I got to tell you guys, I love Tua, okay? I've been a big Tua fan since Alabama. I like the guy, okay? But I don't know if we can really, hold a candle to our guy Justin Herbert at this point with everything that he's proven and accomplished. I think the Chargers are in very, very good hands. So our first topic, talking a little bit about Justin Herbert and what I expect to see from him in this game. Of course, we all expect Justin Herbert every single week to be that guy, right? The Chargers franchise quarterback, face of the team. I think he's going to do just that this week, man. This is probably the biggest question I've been getting asked in regards from the fans. Like, Director, what do we think about week 1? Justin Herbert, how do you think he's going to look? Well, spoiler alert, he's going to look great. I think Justin Herbert, this is the biggest thing I want you guys to remember. This is our very, very first preview in the regular season of Justin Herbert paired up with Kellen Moore. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys caught my trailer that I put out a couple of days ago. By the time you guys see this video, the hype trailer, right? Well, in that video, the first thing I open up that video with is a quote by some, talking head on YouTube. He says that the Chargers' new offense with Justin Herbert paired with Kellen Moore is going to be something to watch in the NFL. And that is exactly what I think this game is going to give us our first taste of. The Chargers, Kellen Moore, brand new passing offense. I would say a revamped run game. It's going to look different. It's going to look a lot different. We saw a little semblance of that here and there from the preseason, which was very exciting, watching the Chargers slap around the Niners and the Rams. But that was just it. That was like the vanilla offense for Kellen Moore, right? And on top of that, there was no Justin Herbert running the show in those matchups. No, this game is different. This is the real deal. It's Sunday NFL football, baby. It's time to throw down the big bananas. And the big bananas of this offense are going to include a lot of play action, a lot of efficient running, a lot of targeting your guys out deep, right? Trying to establish that deep game. Oh, my God, it's going to be fun to watch. And Justin Herbert, I think he is going to go bananas this game. Last time we played the Dolphins, this man threw for almost 400 yards and a touchdown. I think it's going to be one to watch, baby. I think the Chargers, for one, the passing offense can be very healthy. I think, if anything, if you guys are wondering, like, Director, what's going to shock us from Justin Herbert this week? I think we see a couple, design quarterback runs. Maybe something that we didn't see in the past. Of course, you're going to see, Kellen Moore want to protect the quarterback. I don't think it's going to be anything too sketchy, but I think he's going to want to introduce that aspect of Justin Herbert's game to the offense. But I think the passing attack's going to be very efficient. I think it's going to be behind a lot of play action. I think it's going to be behind a lot of, efficient running from the Chargers as well. But I think it should be a pretty good one. The Chargers and Justin Herbert, historically, specifically him, has also been very awesome in season openers, particularly at home. But just in the first game of the season, he usually puts up some pretty solid numbers. For me, I'm going to say, give me Justin Herbert 300 yards, give me 325, and a pair of scores for Herb in week 1. And that's, to me, the floor. It could be a little bit more depending on what the Dolphins roll out with. Speaking of the Dolphins, is it Tua time? Is it something? This, again, we're going to talk about both sides of the coin here. Tua Tagovailoa, of course, the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. A guy that I was very high on coming in from the draft. And I think for the most part, he's been living up to a lot of that hype. He's just not been able to stay completely healthy, and that's become part of the narrative for Tua, the player. Outside of that, though, and specifically for us as Chargers fans, paying attention to what he brings to the Miami offense that we have to pay attention to, I think Tua is a quarterback we need to take seriously. Okay? He wasn't as impressive in our last game as Justin Herbert, obviously. I think he only threw for 145. Actually, I have him right here. Completing 10 of 28 passes for 145 yards and a score. That's pretty big. Yikes. That's what the Chargers defense were all over the guy. And if you guys saw the opener, of course, with Mike McDaniel, what a clown. I think the Chargers defense has a good beat on the Miami offense. And of course, now that Ronaldo Hill is with the Dolphins, maybe we show him a couple of different looks, a couple of different things up our sleeves. And I think the biggest thing that I wanted to bring up in this Tua segment is that, yes, he did struggle last meet with the Chargers, and yes, there was some issues there. He's still something we have to take seriously. But there's one big aspect that was missing in the last game that he's now going to experience in this game. He's kind of experiencing it in this photo. it's going to be the pass rush. The pass rush is going to be way different. And that's because the Chargers, at this point in time in the season opener, we got Joey Bosa, we got Khalil Mack, we got Tua Tagovailoa, we got Morgan Fox, we got maybe Chris Rumpf. The point being, the Chargers pass rush is looking pretty dang healthy on the season opener. And that's not something that Tua Tagovailoa had to deal with last time, as well as not having a starting left tackle. It could get a little messy out there. So Tua, for one, I will say, capable quarterback. He gets the ball to his receivers, and those receivers just happen to have a lot of speed. Very, very dangerous. I would say Tua's very efficient quarterback. But it's going to be a long day for this man, especially if he doesn't have a starting left tackle versus what the Chargers are rolling out with on the pass rush. And that's going to bring us into our next segment here. Why is everything so teeny? Let's go ahead and bring this in full size. Bosa, Mack, and the Thule attack. Here we go, baby. Chargers pass rush. You guys have an idea. I've been harping on this all off season. Like, director, what's something you're really excited about in this upcoming season? What's a factor of the defense that you're so stoked about? It's been the pass rush. The pass rush gets me giddy. Like a kid in the first day of school who knows there's sloppy joes on the menu. Like, this is gonna be awesome this season. And I think this may be the biggest thing that I'm anticipating about this game. Certainly on the defense, right? And of course, we'll say for the defense. The offense is something I'm definitely going to be very, very high on. But the pass rush, man, this is something I am tuning in on Sunday to watch. This unit, I need to see them go crazy. I think they will go crazy in this match. When I say crazy, I mean crazy. Like, holy crap, throw the man a lifeline, a lifeboat, secondary save the women and children kind of situation for the Miami Dolphins on this pass rush. It's going to get ugly. That's what I'm thinking. And that's because, again, the situation for them on the offensive line is unfortunate for the Dolphins, but more so speaking to the strength of the Chargers as their pass rush unit gets their first taste of chasing a quarterback down in live action in the regular season. Oh my God, it's going to be crazy. In particular, with Teron Armstead out missing this game, that's Khalil Mack's side. And that doesn't mean it's just going to be Khalil Mack. Chargers like to rotate a lot, right? So you're going to see a little bit of everybody. But for the most part, Khalil Mack is going to feast this game. That's his side, okay? Not to mention, not just him, maybe going after a backup, second string left tackle, whatever the case may be over there. Even if it was Teron Armstead, you got to worry about Joey freaking Bosa on the other side of that line. You got to worry about a healthy rotation of pass rushers now. We got, hopefully Chris Rumpf comes back, but certainly Tua Tagovailoa. That's going to be a big factor in this game. That pass rush is relentless, it's unforgiving, and it ain't slowing down. That rotation is going to keep a lot of, health and a lot of stamina on that position. And I think it's going to be very tough for the Dolphins to try and slow that down. Not to mention the guys on the interior. Oh, Morgan Fox. I think he had a sack the last time we played the Dolphins. He's going to be fantastic. He might get some action from Sebastian Joseph, the other guys in the interior, but this is going to be a good one, man. I think if the fans walk away with one huge shock from this game, like, wow, I was excited about this game, but I didn't see that coming, it's going to be how ruthless our pass rush ends up being this week. And I think it'll speak a tale of many tales to come when it comes to the Chargers pass rush. We got to move on. Next up, next segment, Catching Lightning in a Bottle is going to be the title of that. No, I'm not actually talking about the Chargers when I say lightning in this instance. I'm talking about the pair of very fast wide receivers for the Miami Dolphins, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. This is without a doubt the most dangerous aspect of this team, if you were to ask me. Right, and again, I've been fielding questions about this matchup for weeks. Of course, it's the home opener. It's the game that I get asked about the most leading up to it because it's the one coming up soonest. And everybody always asks me, like, director, what do you think of when you think of the Miami Dolphins? I think of these two guys. I want to say Tua, and I want to say, their defense has got some dogs on that line, but no, it is this duo of wide receivers that brings me the most pause in terms of our, we're going to stomp these guys out. These wide receivers are dangerous, and it's going to be tough. I think this duo of wide receivers, because I'm a big fantasy guy. I don't know about you guys. I play a lot of fantasy football. I remember looking up some of the stats for these guys. Like, okay, I don't know if they'd score a lot of touchdowns. What are we talking about in terms of yardage? I think combined, these guys went for 3,000 yards or something ridiculous. last year. So these guys, man, although we're not going to have to worry a lot about, Tua bombing us deep and beating those safeties and, tossing, a 60-yard touchdown over the heads of our defense, we have to worry about these guys and their ability to beat you after the catch. Okay, imagine you're the Chargers defense, right? And you see Waddle and Hill on a mesh concept, where they're both running these short routes on opposite ends, right? That's really tough to cover if you're in whatever defense. Then all of a sudden, either one of these guys gets the ball. You got to close that space real quick, because if you don't, they'll find an angle and they'll take it to the house. They turn on those Jets and they are gone. And that's a big reason why they've been putting up the kind of yardage they have. Yeah, we joke about Tua a lot, but the man's efficient. And when you get the ball into the hands of a speedster, like a Tyreek Hill, which has been a pain in our side since the Chiefs days, or a Jalen Waddle, that becomes a headache to contain. So that's going to be one big thing the Chargers are going to have to step up and slow down a little bit. And that's going to be probably in the hands more than likely of J.C. Jackson and Asante Samuel Jr. I think those are two pretty decent corners to match up against this duo to slow them down. Funny enough, I actually think Michael Davis would probably be a better fit in terms of matching up against one of these speedsters. I think in our team, in terms of DBs, he's one of the fastest that we have available. So sure, we have to watch out for him as well. But it's going to be a big task for these guys. And I do think, unfortunately, Chargers fans, we're going to get burned by one of these guys at least once this game. But keeping up with them is going to be vital. Not just in terms of speed as much as we are capable of, but on the scoreboard as well. These guys go for a touchdown, we sure as heck be ready to answer, because it could happen at any given moment. As a matter of fact, I think before we move on to the next segment, the biggest play of this matchup last year ended up being some weird fumble recovery by Tyreek Hill, right? And I remember it like it was yesterday. The fumble came in. Everyone's kind of, scrambling around looking around for the football. We're all assuming it's been picked up, it's dead or whatever. And even if it was recovered by Miami, like they're down, right? They're down. He was not down. Tyreek Hill scooped that thing up. The Chargers defense, before they even realized what was going on, Tyreek Hill was halfway to the end zone. Got to watch out for that speed. Okay. Next segment. Power overload. Now, this time I am talking about the Los Angeles Chargers players. The Dolphins are not the only ones with deadly wide receivers, folks. The Chargers have arguably the best trio. What do you even call the set of four? Best four starting wide receivers, or four wide receivers at the top of the depth chart in the league. They got four receivers. They're pretty kick butt. I don't know if there's any team in the NFL that can match us in terms of quality four deep at the wide receiver position. This is crazy, the kind of talent we got here. From left to right on this photo, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, who was fantastic throughout the course of last season, especially when called in favor of the injury, the other two guys. You got Quentin Johnston now to add to that mix. He's definitely going to be involved this game. And they got Mike Williams on the right side there. Quick question for you guys still paying attention here at the middle of the video. I'm probably closer to the end of the video here. Question for you guys in the comments. And I saw this on X or Twitter a couple of days ago. Are you guys over or under on Quentin Johnston putting up 50 yards this game? Total yards. It can be running yards, passing yards, receiving yards, whatever. 50 yards for Quentin Johnston this game. Over or under? You guys let me know. I'll give you my answer at the end of the video. Okay? Now, the Chargers, power overload. We got some weapons at wide receiver, and I think this is going to speak to the fact of why I'm so high on a week one performance of Justin Herbert, especially with Kellen Moore and all that kind of stuff. It's because, holy crap, look at these guys. And I think Kellen Moore is the kind of OC that's going to get a lot of these guys involved, if not all of them at certain times. Chargers got some weapons, and I think they intend on using them all day long. Now, even think about just the situation walking into this game. Last year, Chargers' health at wide receiver wasn't great. Okay? I'm not saying for the whole season it's going to be great, but at least for this game, right? We're walking in with a healthy Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. That's huge this game. They were available, I think, for one of the few times together last year in Week 14, where I think Mike Williams ended up having a huge game. Something like over 110, 115 yards, touchdown. I think he's in for a similar performance this week. Of course, Keenan Allen, the target machine. I think he went for over 10 receptions last time. May have been 12, if I remember correctly. And then Justin Herbert being Justin Herbert, spreading the ball around. We saw plenty of action for Josh Palmer, Austin Eckler. I think we're going to see a similar situation this week, right? And I think, again, of the two of our top wide receivers, our duo probably being the biggest thing we're known for in the league as far as the position of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I think Williams gets off to a very huge start this season. And I think it starts at this game. I think Mike Williams could be one of the most slept-on fantasy wide receivers in the league this season. I think we're going to get our first preview of that in week 1 versus Miami. And then we can't forget about the other weapons. Palmer, QJ, even Darius Davis, I think, should all get looks this week. What I see when I watch Kellen Moore, even in the preseason, which is nuts, is just a crisp understanding of personnel, strengths, weaknesses, situations. And I think there's kind of a spot for everybody. It's not just the fact that we got 3 very good, receivers that need to stay in a rhythm. Of course, that's going to be important, but there's just a role for everybody. Davis and QJ are going to get some looks deep. You're going to get some slot work or, trying to move the chains kind of situations, reliability in terms of receptions for, of course, Keenan Allen. Maybe even Josh Palmer gets sprinkled in there a little more than we expect. I think it's going to be crazy. Now, Miami's passing defense, they're going to have their hands full this game. This is going to be the situation for a lot of teams throughout the course of the season. Sure, I like Xavier Howard a lot. Who else do they have out there? Javon Holland. He's also a very good safety. Outside of that, who's going to cover everybody, right? I have to assume that Xavier Howard's probably going to be on either Mike or Keenan, right? Who's covering the slot? I think it's going to be Keenan we see there a lot, but either way, who's covering the third guy? Who's covering the fourth guy? I don't know, man. When thinking about guys I know they got Eli Apple now, right? When thinking about Eli Apple, or is it Kader Kohu? Is that the other guy's name? Kader Kohu? I know he got a little bit of upside, but even think about those guys going up against, I don't know, Quentin Johnston or Josh Palmer. It makes me giddy. No team is 3 or 4 DBs deep enough where they can face confidently any one of these 4 dudes. And that's going to be a big aspect of our season is how deep this wide receiver room is and the kind of competition they're going to have to end up facing because of how much talent we have at that position. If everybody stays healthy, knock on wood, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big problem for the league if the Chargers can keep these guys healthy. All right, we got to move on. Next up, only a couple more segments here, guys, and we'll close out the video. Well, these won't be as long as my normal videos. Fortification is what this is called. Very quick point here. If there's one aspect that worries me about the Miami Dolphins, the team, right? Hey, director, what worries you about your week 1 matchup versus the Dolphins? First off, the wide receivers, of course, but it's also going to be their defensive line. My God, do they have some dogs out there, baby? Christian Wilkins, I think one of the best defensive linemen in the entirety of football. So good. Raquan Davis, so good. Jalen Phillips, so good. Bradley Chubb, so good. It's going to be tough out there. Yeah, we're talking about, the Chargers, and we're going to eat, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the quarterback, yada, yada, yada. Chargers need to protect their quarterback. And this is a good opportunity for the Chargers. I mean, it's stiff competition, but a good opportunity for the Chargers to keep Justin Herbert upright, despite the talent we're seeing on the opposite side of the ball. Okay? If the Chargers our offensive line puts up a solid game this week, despite the kind of talent we're seeing over there, we are in good hands for the season. Again, knock on wood that everybody stays healthy. Chargers pass protection is going to be tested early. That's one of the biggest aspects of the Miami defense, the Miami football team, that I think we need to pay attention to. And then lastly, one big thing to pay attention to if you're a Chargers fan, how does a run look by the end of this game? We're going to be paying close attention to this for sure. I think a big aspect of this game that could potentially shock us as fans is how efficient the running game is. It doesn't mean we're going to run a billion times like the Tennessee Titans. It means how efficient we are with those opportunities for these guys to carry the ball. They going for 2.5 yards, 3 yards, or are they going for 4, 5, 6 yards per carry? We need to get that number up. And I think that's why Kellen Moore is here. That's a huge part of the Moore system. Let's get that run game going to free up the offense a bit. Get that passing game on rhythm. That's a big thing if you look at his system with the Dallas Cowboys that I think flew under the radar too often. Chargers run game's got to be good. And I think it starts with Austin Eckler. It starts with Kellen Moore, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think we're going to see a nice day from the running backs. Not just Austin Eckler, but I think everybody. But I do think Eckler's going to have a decent game. He did struggle last time. I do remember looking at the stat. He had something like 3 yards per carry. It was 45 yards on 15 carries. 15 carries. I think he sees a much better day this week. And what I'm trying to say is that we're going to go from a lack of efficiency, 3 yards per carry, to a much more efficient number, maybe even with less carries, right? Let's say the man averages 4.5 yards. That's awesome. That's great. We'll see 75 yards with less carries and feel good about that. That's what I'm trying to see. That's what I'm hoping to work up from with the Kellen Moore offense. We need to see better numbers in the run game, despite the opponents that we're going up against. Even a Miami defensive line that's very, really good, I got to see better numbers. And I think that's something we're going to see. I would expect Austin Eckler to have a decent day on the ground. Sure, he's going to get involved through the air like he always does. But that run game needs to emerge for the Chargers. All right. So to close out this video, I asked you guys a question at the top of the show. Am I over or under on Quentin Johnson with 50 yards this game? I'm actually going to take the over on this one. I think Quentin Johnson is going to start. If you guys want like a big shocker from me this week, there's been a lot of talk about Josh Palmer being wide receiver 3, starting as wide receiver 3, and then Quentin Johnson working his way in from there. I think that could kind of be the case, but I think QJ is going to see a lot of work this week. And I think, again, when it comes to matchups, like we were talking about with the DBs, I don't think people are going to be able to keep up with them. I think his yak ability is going to come into play here too. And when you kind of look at Justin Herbert spreading the ball around outside of Keenan and Mike last year, it was Josh Palmer, it was some of these other depth guys, and they ended up, putting up some good numbers. So I'm going to say Quentin Johnson, in his debut, I will go over on that number of 50 yards. To wrap up this video, we always do a score prediction. How I think this game is going to go. My official score prediction for the first game of the 2023 season for your Los Angeles Chargers is going to be Chargers 34, Dolphins 25. I got the Chargers winning this one. Not handedly, but I think the offense is going to hit the ground running. The season's going to start with a bang, and the Chargers fans are going to get their first official preview and look of excitement behind what Kellen Moore is bringing to this team and this offense. If you have one thing you walk away from this game, I really hope it's one thing on each side of the ball. I really hope it's, wow, this offense is amazing. They really turned it around. Bravo, Kellen Moore. And then on defense, it's, wow, these guys are ruthless in their pass rush. Good luck to the rest of the quarterbacks on our schedule. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you guys like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Cannot wait to see you guys on Sunday. Of course, we'll be live for that game. You guys hit us up here on the channel. We'll be there for every snap of Chargers football to kick off the season. Then right afterwards, catch us on Bleacher Report for our post-game reaction. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Much love. Chargers football is officially here. Let's get this season off on a bang, on a good foot, man. Let's go, Kellen Moore. Let's put on a show.